Welcome to my Dwarf Fortress tutorial 2011, which is a remake, which is more focused and is going to teach you on how to build and understand Dwarf Fortress within 1 hour in a very basic way, so you know how to get started and how to go on, because it's a hard game to get into. The first thing you might want to do is to download the Lazy Noob pack. You can find it in the description below in my videos, and after you have installed it, you can just double click it, and then you see this GUI. And for this tutorial purpose, I would suggest that you leave the settings like they are here right now. Economy, yes. Invaders, yes. Temperature, yes. Liquid depth, yes. Weather, yes. Population cap 200. Cave-ins, yes. Child cap 100 to 1000. No aquifers, and no exotic animals. Make sure that you use a tile set, unless you like to play in ASCII mode. I would not recommend it for new people because it makes it a little bit hard. If you have the Lazy Noob pack, you can just pick the Iron Hand tile set, for instance, which is the one that I'm using, and click on Install Graphics, and then you should be ready to go. Right, after you have set up everything, you click on Play Dwarf Fortress. Here we are. This is the initial screen for Dwarf Fortress. I'm just going to go through it real quick. You have only the option Create New World if you have the game newly installed. So this is where you press Enter, and you will be presented the Create a World screen, where you can leave everything as it is and just press Y. This is this generator is mainly used for creating a new world, and then afterwards you can embark in this world, and you can embark once per world simultaneously. So if you want to play in your world again, you might want to you have to abandon your fortress and then go back into it right afterwards, but you cannot do that simultaneously unless you copy the save games. This is the world map. Just press Enter here to accept it. It's gonna save the world and set everything up. And now you have another option, which is called Start Playing. We just created this world, so you just want to select it and hit Enter for Start Playing. And you choose the region that you just created, which is you should have only one option. Press Enter, and then you can choose between these three options. What I'm going to cover in this tutorial is the Dwarf Fortress mode, which is the main mode of the game. It allows you to create a fortress with 7 dwarfs. There's also the adventure mode, which allows you to go as a single character into these worlds and play them in a kind of RPG style. And there is Legends, which lets you browse and go through the history of the world that was just created before. What's special about it is that the world generation that you did before created initially a world, and then let the world with all the civilizations in it run for 125 or 250 years, depending on your settings. That means that you are going to embark in a world that already had its conflicts, that had its heroes and civilizations and whatnot. So you're going to take Dwarf Fortress, press Enter, and you are being presented with the embark screen, which determines on whether you are embarking in a zone made out of desert, mountains, evil or not evil, wood, and you can see that here there are 3 screens, which is the local screen, the region screen, and the world screen. They are used to present you the world in detail. The most zoomed out version is the world screen, which is this one, and you see the yellow X. This is your cursor actually, and here you see him again. This is a zoomed in version here from the world. So the region is a zoomed in version of the world, and the local is a zoomed in version from region. What you want to do here is find yourself an embark zone that is quite okay. We're going to do that right now. Afterwards you learn the game, you know more on what to look out for and what you want to avoid or whatnot. And for now we are just going to set the settings here with a filter, so we know where there are embark zones that match our criteria to play an easy game without worrying too much about all the different stuff. So you press F for filter, and then you should see this screen here, and here we are going to select different options to match our preferences. We're going to go and select Aquifer to no. You can do that with your arrow keys if you hit left and right. We want to have a river, so we say yes to this, and we want to have shallow metal. That's all we need right now, and we just let him do the search by pressing enter. There we go. You can see on the map where the green X's are that there is in fact a place that matches all this criteria, and the right ones obviously are not. So we are going to wander around with our arrow keys after we pressed escape to browse our results. So we are back on the screen, and you can see here that my yellow cursor is basically following what I'm doing with my arrows. Occasionally it moves here as well to the right and the left. This is because it's a zoomed in version of this, but basically you should just pay attention to this here, to the region window instead of the world window, because this gives us more information that we need right now. So I'm just gonna go somewhere where it's green and not necessarily like purple, which is usually an evil area. And there we go. Okay, my cursor is here, the yellow one, and now please pay attention to the local window, which is here. I can move this area here, which is 4 to 4 squares wide, and I can move it with UMKH. You can see that here. It's a little bit getting used to, but it definitely works. So you see these 4 to 4 squares here show basically the screen that we are being presented afterwards when we are playing, and this is going to be our playing area. So by moving around this square, you can see here on the right side a summary of what the square is containing. In this case it contains temperate climate. It's heavily forested, the vegetation is thick, the surroundings are calm, there is clay, very deep soil, shallow metal, deep metals, and flagstone. If you have something like this, that's quite okay, because all we need right now is to have a little time so we can embark and get to know the game a little bit. The rest is not really that important. You might want to look out for something that has shallow metal, which we set before in the filters, but the other stuff you don't really have to worry about. So make sure that your 4 to 4 screen in the local window here is containing a little bit of a river like this, and then afterwards, if everything is okay here, you can see that dangerous options are usually red or blue for temperature, like if there is untamed wilds, and or whether the temperature is very, very hot and everything. So you just press E for embark if you're satisfied with the zone, and you don't have to worry about the rest. So I press E, and then you can see different embark setups. You can either embark manually by selecting every single thing that you take on your journey, but you don't want to do that right now. So just pick the Lazy Noob pack, embark pack, and hit enter. Now there comes a screen with everybody that is on the trip. Doesn't have to bother you as well. Just press E another time, and the game hangs a little. That's totally normal. And then you see a message that you have embarked to your new awesome fort, and we are being presented with the world. Alright, you should see something similar like this now, and this is basically the game. This screen here is the main playing area. This is where all the action happens. This here is the interface that you will use for giving commands, and this is a map basically of the area. Right now, for tutorial purposes and for building our fortress, we don't need this this map here, so we can switch between different setups of this interface with tab. If you press tab multiple times, you can see that, and we're going to set it so it's like this. We have on the left side we have our area, and here the interface. Alright, so what you see here on the playing area is a 2D view from above on your dwarfs, and all this green stuff here is pretty easy recognizable since you are using a tile set right now, so you can tell that these are trees, there are plants and everything. And if you are using the ASCII version right now, you're gonna have sometimes a little hard time, but you can find out what is what by the time you're playing. So this is a 2D view of the first level, and you can see here that there are triangles pointing down. This indicates that the map is going from here on one level down, and the same here on the left side with these triangles that are going up. This indicates that they are going one level up and that there is other stuff upwards. To navigate and to browse this, you might want to use your arrow keys to move around like this. And if you want to go one level up or one level down, you use Shift 5 or Control 5. If you press Shift 5 once now, you see that the map is changing one level up. You can see that also up here on the top right. You see a level indicator. Right now we are one above. This is the green numbers mean that it's above 0. And if I press Control 5, I go one level down again, and I'm on the 0 level again. If I press Control 5 again, I'm -1 right now. You can see that here. If I press it again, another. So this is pretty much a hillside area. Makes it a little harder to imagine everything, but if you are using from the Lazy Noob pack a utility, just open the Lazy Noob pack again and click Stone Sense, and then press F9. You can see this is a visualizer for what you see here in 2D, and you can see here that it's quite a lot of hills. So this is basically a 2D view of what you see here in 3D. Alright, you are navigating the map again with the arrows, with Shift 5, with Control 5, and you can see, you can investigate everything by pressing K. K is for looking around. So if you press K, you see that your cursor is here, and you can move the cursor around with your arrows, and you can see up here on the top right the description of what's under your cursor. So if I just move over the tree, I see there is a lark that can be chopped down. There's a shrub here This is a dwarf. This is one of our dwarfs. This is Sigun Doranrith. He's a farmer, and below him are some chalk pebbles. You can do that with anything here, and it's very good to get to know the different stuff that's here, and this is a very good tool to do that. Alright, you can always press escape to get out, and once you are in this screen again, where it just shows you this interface, you can press space to resume the game, or to just pause it. The game will usually always pause when you are in a menu, other than in this one, in the basic interface. So make sure that you always escape, and then the game is running. Alright, what we want to do right now is we want to get our dwarfs to work. We can see them here. These are our 7 dwarfs. They're standing around the cart, and in the cart is the stuff that we have selected in the embark screen before, the stuff that was in the lazy new pack, and this gets them started, but we have to build up a fort pretty quick so they can gather food, have a place to sleep, and some other nasty stuff. Alright, what we're going to do right now is we are going to tell our dwarves to gather trees so we can start to build some stuff. And we do that by pressing P for stockpiles. You can see that here. And then we're going to telling them, okay, I want to stockpile with wood. So I press W here. Then I press enter. And wherever my cursor just was when I pressed enter, which is here, you can see that it's still blinking. And if I press enter again, it's going to designate an area that is now able to have wood stored on it. I remove this area again, so I do it again. I'm in the stockpile screen here, P for stockpiles, and then I press W for wood, and now I can move around with my cursor, and if I press enter I can create a rectangle. If I press enter again, that is going to be able to store wood until it's filled up. Alright, so this is the first part. You have to designate areas for your dwarfs to store the stuff on there. Usually you have a woodcutter in your default embark. So what you can do right now is you can tell the woodcutter to chop down the trees and to bring all the wood into the stockpile area. And you can do that by pressing D for designations and then T for chop down trees. And this is going to tell all your dwarfs, not a single one, all your dwarfs that have the woodcutter labor enabled to chop down trees. You don't know which one these are, but you always have one in your default embark, so you don't really have to worry about it. And I do it exactly the same now as with the stockpile. I'm just going somewhere up here on the left here. I press enter. I'm going downwards here. I press enter again, and then you see all those brown marked trees are now designated for being chopped down. I do the same for the plants. I can tell our dwarfs to gather plants, so I press P for gather plants, which is here, and then I designate again an area here which is quite big, so they can gather all the plants that have been in here. So our dwarfs will now get to work and chop down the trees, gather the plants, and the trees, once they have been cut down, will be hauled here onto our stockpile area. I press escape, I hit space for resume, and you see that exactly that is going to happen. 2 people are gathering plants, 1 is chopping down trees. Exactly. So that's going to happen. You see they are hauling it here, and that's how it works. So you see that you cannot control your dwarves directly. You always have to tell them where they can do stuff and how they should do it, but you cannot control them directly. Alright, what we want to do now is we want to get inside of a mountain pretty fast so we can build up our fortress, and we do that by hitting D for designation and then another D for mine, and right now you see here that the mountainside is going up. Right, you see here those up pointing triangles, and this is a good spot here to dig into the mountain. This is black because I cannot really see what it is. So this could be anything. This could be a cavern, or there could be lava, or there could be water, or whatever. But usually it's not really a problem so close to the surface. So what you're doing is you're going again in your mining designation. You hit enter on the closest part here of the hill outside, and then we go to the left and we press enter again to create a hallway that is just 2 tiles wide. As you can see, we have 2 dwarfs, this one and this one here, that are having pickaxes, so they will start to mine the stuff out. If it's just soil like this, nothing is left behind and they can proceed pretty fast. If you are digging into a stone layer, they would leave stone behind, which you can use for building, but that is cluttering up your area pretty fast as well. Alright, we just digged into the mountain, and we want to extend the hallway a little bit to the bottom, so they can dig a little further. And then I'm going to dig also an area out for the wood stockpile that is currently outside, so I can store all my wood in there. And I want to also have a little meeting area for my dwarves, where they can meet and eat, and maybe another room for a workshop that I'm going to show you in a second. Alright, I had space for resume, and then they start digging out the designations. So you can see that our woodcutters are getting ahead. They're doing their job pretty good, and our stockpile here fills up. I can now show you how to progress from here, and as soon as they have dug out this stuff here, we're going to do the following. We are going to create some a workshop, a carpenter basically, and the carpenter allows us to craft tables, chairs, some trap components, doors, and whatnot. So this is what we're going to do right now. Alright, I just fast forwarded a little. You can see that they dug out this big room that is supposed to be our meeting area. We have here the little room for our workshop, and we have here room for a stockpile area. I'm going to build now a workshop in here, and I can do that by pressing B for building, and then you can navigate these structures with plus and minus. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to workshops, which is W. I press enter, and then I can go to the carpenter's workshop, or alternatively press C, and then you can see a blueprint of the workshop. Alright, there are 9 squares that are inhabited by this one, so I just build it here. I press enter, and then it asks me what material I want to use. I don't really care, just use any log that's outside, that's okay. I press enter again, and they're going to build the workshop right now. If you are, by the way, navigating around the map with your arrow keys here, and you have to designate areas, or you have to do to make bigger steps with your cursor, you can hold down shift and then press the arrow key, and that makes your arrow go a little faster. You can see that if I press arrows once, it's going to take 1 step. If I press shift and then press the arrows, it's going to be much faster. That's quite handy. Alright, our workshop is finished in the meantime. You can see that here, and we want to tell them alright, carpenter, please make us some beds, some tables, and some chairs so we can get a cozy feeling inside here and get the party started. And you can do that with pressing Q. Q is used for setting building tasks and preferences and to adjust basically the options of stuff like the stockpile area or in this case the carpenter. And we're going to do that right now. We're going to press Q for set building tasks and preferences. We're going to go over or close the carpenter workshop until he blinks green, and then I press A for add new task, and then I'm being presented with a list of stuff that he can build. I want to make first some beds, so I press B for bed, or I just go down the list, and if I want him to repeat that step indefinitely until he runs out of wood, I can also press right now R for repeat. I press R again to remove it because I don't want that right now, but if you press R, he's just going to repeat this task until he cannot find any more wood. Okay, I want 2 more beds, so I have 3 beds. I want tables, so I press A for add a new task, go down until I find table, and I want 3 of these tables. Exactly, and then I want also some chairs, which is C for chair, A, C, A, C. Alright, so we have 3 beds, 3 tables, and 3 chairs now in the queue. And if I hit escape, the carpenter will come soon and start to craft this stuff. While he's doing that, I'm going to set up here a stockpile area that is going to move everything from here inside here. So I press P for stockpile again, W for wood. I designate the whole area here by pressing enter and pressing enter again here. Hit escape. And then I'm going to cancel this stockpile area. I'm going to tell them this is not allowed to be stockpile for wood anymore because I want it in here, and I do that exactly the same way as I adjusted the tasks of the workshop. I press Q for set building tasks, and as soon as the area blinks I can press S for change settings, and I could either go down the list here, and you can see that there's a whole list of stuff that is allowed or not allowed, and the gray stuff is not allowed and the white stuff is allowed. And I could either now tell him to disable the stuff in this stockpile, or if I press escape and I go out, escape, and I can just remove the whole designation. And I don't have any use for this designation here, so I don't want to just disallow wood, I just want to remove it completely. So I go into the stockpile menu again with P, and then I can press X for remove designation, and then I'm going to select the whole area here, and now it's gone. Now what the dwarfs are doing is, oh, they see, okay, there's wood lying around which is not in the stockpile area anymore, so they're going to haul everything in here. You can see that. So my stockpile area is filling up quite nicely, and the carpenter only has to go from here to here anymore. Now there's another problem. The carpenter is creating stuff, and it's cluttering up his workshop sooner or later. So I need also a stockpile for furniture, and I'm doing that exactly the same way that I did here. I designate an area with D and then D mine. I just carve out some little area here. I hit escape, and then my miners are gonna make another stockpile here ready for my furnitures, and while they are doing that I'm going to build the stuff that he's also already storing in here in his workshop. Workshops cannot store indefinitely. They can, I don't know, like 10 or 20 items. It depends on the size of them. Not quite sure about this, but you always want to move the stuff out into stockpiles so you see what you actually have. But you can also directly build from here. So we are going to build now a stockpile for all the furniture that he's creating, and I do that exactly the same way as I did here. I press P for stockpile, Then U for furniture storage, and I designate this area here. I hit escape, I press space for resume, and what's going to happen now is they're going to bring all the furniture that is in the cart here and the stuff that is in here to this area, so everything is organized. You see there's an anvil here, there are bags, there are pots. Now the tables that we have created are here now as well. Beds, chairs, and this is a great way to see on what you actually have and whatnot. Okay, what I'm doing now is I set up here my meeting area with the furniture that he initially crafted. I can do that by pressing B again, B for building, and then I can choose all this furniture that I already have, like B for beds, and I can only do that right now because I already crafted it. This will be generate an error here if you don't have any beds in storage, and you have to craft them first in the carpenter shop. Alright, so I have these beds. I can you can see there's a blueprint which is just 1 square wide. I'm gonna place one bed here. I hit enter again. I create another one here. So I have 3 beds. That's okay. And then I want to place some tables here with chairs so they can have a place to meet and to eat. So I press B for building again, and then T for table. So place some tables and some chairs. Chairs are placed with C in the building menu. So I press escape. And you can see now these blueprints are being filled with the furniture that is in here. That's how they do it. Alright, the beds are placed, tables, and the chairs are here. Okay, we can tell our dwarfs now to use these beds as they wish, and we can do that exactly in the same way as we changed the workshop or the stockpiles. We can do that by pressing Q, and we move over the beds, preferably the one in the middle. And then you see here that it's R for make bedroom, so I press R, and then you see the area that is covering this bedroom. This covers my other 2 beds quite nicely. That's okay, and I could resize it to make it bigger or smaller with plus and minus, but that's completely fine. So I press enter, and now you see other options coming up. I could either assign this bed to a certain dwarf so he can have his own possessions, but I don't want that, or I can just tell them with pressing D that this is a dormitory where they can go in and out as they wish for sleeping as the need arises. So I press D, so dormitory says yes, and I press escape, and now whenever someone is sleepy, they can come in here and take some rest. I do the same here for a dining hall, and I do that with pressing Q, and I go over my tables and I say make a dining room please. It includes all the furniture here. That's quite good. So I press enter, and then I can also tell them this is now a dining room, but I can also tell them to make this a meeting hall, and a meeting hall is a very important thing. This is the place where your dwarfs originally meet when they are coming into the land, or if they have nothing to do, they just hang out here and get together. This is a very important space in your fortress. So you can see they are bringing their first food and are starting to eat it here. Alright, that's quite good. I'm having another problem right now. There is still stuff here in this cart, and the food is starting to rot outside. So I'm also gonna carve out a little area for all my food, which is done right here. So I mine all this stuff out with D for designation and then D for mining. And as soon as my dwarves are done, I'm going to make another stockpile area for food. I don't need this cart anymore afterwards I've done that. There is some more stuff in there like clothes and some finished goods, but basically I don't really need this cart anymore. So I can go with Q over the cart and tell them to remove the building here, so they will start to demontage the cart and take its parts into the fortress, so we are pretty much safe. Alright, I'm running a little low on logs soon, I think, so I'm going to designate in the meantime another area to chop down some trees. So I press D for designation, T for chop down trees, and there you go. So whenever my carpenter is idle, he can go and chop down some trees because he's also the woodcutter. Alright, our area here is finished, so I press P for stockpile, and then I press F for food. I designate this whole area here. Press escape, so everything is good, everything is fine. Alright, so every food that is laying on the outside is now being brought inside. So what we need now is we have our basic fort set up, we have a stockpile, everything is inside, but we need also to be sustainable and to produce some food. What we need for that is we need a farm, and we need to irrigate some ground so we can start to plant some plump helmets, which are the main food for your dwarves for a long time, and to brew some alcohol out of these plump helmets. And to farm these plump helmets we need some farm plots. So I'm going to carve out an area. It doesn't have to be really big because plump helmets are quite effective. So this area will be responsible for keeping our dwarves well fed and to be ready to make some plump helmets. So we're going to attach to this farm, we're going to attach another small room here, which will be for our still, and the still can make booze out of these plump helmets, as I said already. And what's important for that is you always need to store your stuff. Like booze is obvious, you need to store it in bins or barrels or whatever. In the case of food, you need barrels, and barrels can be created at the carpenter's workshop. So we're going to in the meantime we're going to press Q, go over to carpenter's workshop, press A for add new task, and tell him to make some wooden barrels. You can never have too much barrels, they are very important, and make sure that you have those. So I press escape, and the carpenter will, whenever he has time, make some barrels in the meantime, and we can go now to build our farm plot. We do that by building a building with B, and then go down to farm plot or pressing P, and then you have the farm plot on your cursor. Now you have to change the height and the width of this farm plot because it's a bigger building. You can choose on what shape you want. You can press M to widen it, U and M to widen or narrow it, and the K and H to make the same in the width. I'm just gonna make it this big. That's okay. So we press escape, and then you can see that the blinking part will be soon made available for the farmer. Alright, I'm going to press B again, and I'm going to build a workshop, which is W, and I build my still, which is here, and I build it back here. So press escape. So we have the farm here. The farm will produce plump helmets. Plump helmets will be moved in here into the food storage, or will be taken from the still here. And the guy in the still will also need some barrels, which he can gather here. And he's going to take the barrels and the plump helmets and make some booze out of it. So this is going to make us sustainable for quite some time. Right now I have everything set up, so I need to tell the farm plot what is being planted in every season, basically, and I can do that by pressing Q again, I go over the farm plot. I see that here are 4 available things. Always use plump helmets at the start because you are most likely having seeds for that. You need seeds to plant such stuff. So I press A for spring. I want in the spring, I want plump helmets, please. So I press enter. And now I go to B for summer. I press enter. For plump helmets, I press C for autumn. Same thing. And in winter, some more plump helmets. Now press escape. Now there will be a farmer coming, and he will start to plant the stuff and get more plump helmets out of it. There are even 2 farmers actually. So I'm going now to the still here that I built. I hover over it and I press A for new task, and I press enter for brew drink, and I press R for repeat this. And what he's going to do now is he's going to take plump helmets from here. He's going to take a barrel that we created in the workshop here. You see it here. And he's going to create some booze out of it. It's very important for your dwarfs, and they can survive a long time like this. You don't need to make another farm plot because this is going to keep your fortress alive for a long time. If you have problems to create this farm plot because it says there is no irrigated soil or there is no soil below it, you need to irrigate the fields. Irrigating works with pouring water over the ground, and you need to do that where there is a totally stone area. So if this would be made out of stone or out of dense stone, you could not really make a farm plot until you have some water that was coming in here. You can see on the map here there is a river. Those numbers here are representing the depth of the water. 7 is the maximum, so this is pretty filled up. And rivers are quite dangerous if you don't know how to handle them at first. But there is also sometimes some small pools of water that you can use, and you can just dig them out and let the water flow in here. And afterwards, the ground can be used. You can see that in my first tutorial video if you really want to see it, but it's really not much of magic, but it's quite impressive if you see it for the first time. Alright, our dwarfs are creating booze. We have plump helmets, we have stockpiles and furniture. We have basically everything to get started. So these are the basics about Dwarf Fortress. Make sure that you check out other tutorials as well about different stuff. I hope I could pack the most important info in these 45 minutes. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the commentary section down below. Thank you.